Well, hello there, and welcome back to Thomas Frank Explains. So Notion has quietly released a brand new feature called synced blocks, which many of us have been asking for quite a long time. What are synced blocks? Well, they're essentially a way to embed content from one page in your Notion workspace into another page, or several pages, as many as you want, in fact. And once you've pasted a synced block, you're going to be able to see and even edit the content within it from every location where that synced block is. It's a really cool feature, and in this video, we're going to go over 5 different ideas for how you can start using synced blocks in your own workspace, from embedding insights and quotes from your book notes into articles you're writing, like in Rome Research, to creating checklists in a company wiki and then porting them over to project templates, to even creating a global quick link navigation bar that you can put basically anywhere. A lot of these ideas I'm already using in my own workspace, and I hope that you find them helpful for your next build as well. All right, once again, I am trapped within a circle on your screen, and we're going to start exploring the first idea, which is going to be embedding blocks of research from book notes or other research sources that you already have in Notion within a maybe video research page or something else that you're writing, maybe an article. If you've ever used Rome Research, you're going to be very familiar with this technique. If you've got pages of research already in Rome Research, you can use their block embed feature to bring it into something that you're writing. So for example, I've got this 3 steps to decluttering your phone article that I'm writing here in Rome Research, or was writing many months ago when I was using Rome full time. What I also have is my book notes on the book Hyperfocus. So if we load these up, we'll see I have all these notes. I've got probably 20,000 words of notes on this book, and there's a lot of great insights that I would love to bring in to the article that I'm writing. Instead of copying and pasting these and then bringing them over, I can actually embed certain blocks from that research right in this article I'm writing. So if I just hit enter here, type / and go to the block embed feature, I can then start typing to search, and I'm gonna go for multitasking. And I know there's a block I can bring in right here. Multitasking relies more on basal ganglia. And when I hit enter, that's going to be brought in. I can also come and click this little 1 here, and I can actually see the location of that block, which is pretty sweet. So now with synced blocks in Notion, we're able to do something relatively similar to this. So for an example, I'm writing this article or making a video on how to beat analysis paralysis right now. So in my research and notes area, I'm taking some notes, and I come to remember that there's a quote from Anti-Fragile about how failure actually gives us information. That'd be great to bring into this video on analysis paralysis. And I have a whole page of notes, actually highlights from ReadWise about Anti-Fragile. So if we come in here and we find a quote that we want to use, like say this one right here, we can go ahead and turn it into a synced block. I'm just going to type /turn and start typing sync to turn this into a synced block. And just to go on a bit of a tangent here, turning things into a synced block in Notion is different than turning things into other block types. With synced blocks, you're simply wrapping the existing block in a new synced block. You're not turning it into a synced block, actually. So now we have this quote in a synced block, and we can click copy and sync, and then we can go back to our research and simply paste it in. So now I have a little exclamation mark here because there are privacy differences between those 2 pages. But beyond that, this is now very usable. If I want to make an edit to this, I can, or I can make an edit to it on the actual Anti-Fragile page. So this is a great way to take notes on books, to take copious detailed notes on research sources, and then easily bring them in to research that you're doing for specific articles. It's pretty cool. Idea number 2 is going to be syncing process documentation, standard operating procedures, and centralized checklists into actual project templates when you're working on something in Notion. So to give you an example of that, here is a look, an actually exclusive first look at a premium template that I'm creating called Creator's Companion. This is based on the actual content planning and management system that we use for my main channel, for this channel, for all the kind of content that we create. And if you're running a content creation business, especially if you have a team, it's a great idea to have a centralized company wiki where you can have documentation, you can have contact lists, sponsor lists, that kind of stuff. And you can have checklists and standard operating procedures. If you're hiring someone new, it's great to have a centralized database where they can go and get instructions and see how to do things. So for example, we have this YouTube video publishing guide here, and this has a checklist which is inside a synced block. And this basically shows you exactly how to upload a video to my main channel. We need to do things like creating a thumbnail and testing it with thumbsup.tv. We test title variations. We do all these different things. And if we weren't able to look at this checklist, it's very likely that my team or even me would forget to do one or more of these things. There's just so many little things here, and a lot of them are detailed, so it's great to have a checklist. But I would love to have this checklist inside of every video project that I create. So here's another great use of synced blocks. If I put this into a synced block like I have, and then I go ahead and copy and sync it, then I can go over to the project template that I use for my YouTube videos. So to do that, I'm gonna go over to this channel page here. And inside this channel page, I have a link to my master content tracker. I'll actually just click that to show you what it looks like. This is a master database for tracking any content project that we create. It could be YouTube videos for the Thomas Frank channel. It could be College Info Geek articles. It could be stuff for the Thomas J. Frank blog, all kinds of cool stuff. But within here, we have templates for each type of content we create. So I'm gonna open up this Thomas Frank YouTube template here by going to Edit, and you'll see something that should be quite familiar. If you've seen my videos before, this is my project template. So we've got things like our related content area, our research and notes, our script, and an area for checklists. So I would love to have a publishing checklist inside of every new video I create. And to do that, I'm going to add that synced block to a page here in this template. First, I'll click plus here, and I'm going to click a page, and I'm going to call this publishing checklist. And then all I have to do is paste my synced block containing my global checklist. Now, anytime I create an instance of this YouTube project template, I'm gonna get this publishing checklist in here. And I already had this on my old template, so I'm gonna go and show you an existing video just to show you that that exists. Let's go back to how to beat analysis paralysis. So I open this up, and you can see this is generated from that template. So if I go into my publishing checklist, I'm going to see that checklist. Now here's one thing to keep in mind when you're doing this. If I make changes to this checklist, say I check off a few items because I'm actually doing them, because this is synced, when we go back to the original, we're going to see that has actually been carried out across every instance of that sync checklist. We don't actually want that to happen. We want this global checklist within our wiki to always remain unchecked. And obviously we also don't want things being checked off on projects that aren't yet ready to be published. That's going to be very confusing. So let me uncheck these real quick. And we'll go back to that publishing checklist within our How to Beat Analysis Paralysis video project. And what we need to do before checking things off here or making any changes that we don't want to propagate across every instance of our synced block is go to the three-dot menu here and click Unsync. I'm going to be given this option. Do you really want to unsync this? Yes, I do. And now these blocks are just blocks. They're sitting here. You can see they're all selected. There's many, many, many of them. They are no longer synced to that synced block. So if I go off and I'm uploading my video and I'm checking things off as I go, now when I go back to my wiki right here, we're going to see that none of these are checked off because I had unsynced that instance of this synced block and the checklist within it. Idea number 3 is going to be creating a global inbox that you can place in multiple locations around your workspace to shuttle data around and give you basically a scratch pad that you can work off of wherever you are. So to show you an example of that, here is a beta version of my Ultimate Tasks template where I can play around with things and make changes. And what I've created here is a little toggle block that's within a synced block, and I can open that up and basically add anything I want. It could be video ideas. It could be tasks. In fact, let me add another task here. Test responsive design on sales page. And I can just add that wherever I want. Now, if I sync this global inbox across my whole workspace, I'll be able to drag things as needed into their correct spaces, maybe in task lists and databases. So if I go to my web design project right here, you're gonna see that I've also added this global inbox to the side of this task list within the project. And if you've watched my other videos before, you know that Notion has something that I like to call forcing functions, where you use the filter criteria of a database or a linked database to essentially force new rows that are created within that view to take on certain properties like due dates or an association with a project. So if we look at the filters here, specifically the top one here, everything in this database view has to have its project related to the web design project, the demo project that we're currently in. So if I drag anything from this global inbox into this database view, like test responsive design on sales page, it's going to be associated with this project. I don't want to remove my sorting, so I'm going to cancel that. But now I have a new task associated with my project. And if I open it up and look at the properties, we can now see that it is associated with website redesign. So imagine if you were to put this global inbox inside a meeting notes template. Then if you have a meeting with your team every week, and I can actually show you this, I've made an example for it, you could drag things from your meeting notes into this global inbox and then organize them as needed. So for example, I want to do a performance analysis on this video that overperformed. So I'm going to go ahead and drag this block into my global inbox here. It doesn't even matter if it's indented. And now if I go over to say my today tasks, I'm going to see do performance analysis on watch time drop-offs from my meeting notes. And I can just go ahead and drag it into my today list. Cancel that. And we're going to see it is now due today. Again, because we are using forcing functions and the filter on this view specifically says it must be due today or before today. So that's the global inbox idea. I think this is a very versatile idea. There's probably a lot more you could do with it, but we are going to move on to our next idea now. Idea number 4 is going to be global headers and footers in page templates that you create. So say you're trying to create a unified workspace that has maybe a header or a footer that is pretty much on every single page. You could easily create a block and just copy and paste it across lots of different pages. But then if you wanted to make a change to that footer, you would have to go and make a change in tons of different places. Synced blocks solve that problem. So for an example here, I've got yet another instance of the Creator's Companion template that I am creating. And by the way, if you want to get on the wait list for this template, if you're a YouTuber or a blogger who wants to manage multiple channels in Notion, you can go over to thomasjfrank.com/cc. There's a wait list there you can sign up for. But I've got this synced global footer in the template. And if we go over to, say, this channel page here, we're going to find that exact same synced global footer here. So if I want to make a change to this, say I want to just, I don't know, add copyright 2021 right there. Then when I go back to the original template page, we're going to see that that change has synced across. So this is a great way to create easily changeable, easily updatable footers and headers. And this could be especially useful if you're using Notion to create your own website using tools like Super and Potion. And our 5th idea, one that I am pretty excited about in particular, is using synced blocks to create a synced and global quick links bar that you could put basically anywhere in your workspace, like the one I've created right here. I've got this inbox view, part of Ultimate Tasks, and I've got this little toggle bar that I can open up, and I see all these links that I have set up to frequently used pages in my workspace. So this is a bit of an upgrade, or at least an augmentation on the sidebar here in Notion. The sidebar is very powerful, but there are some limitations. One of the biggest ones is that with database views, like this one here, if I twirl into it, I can't actually look at the rows inside the database. Instead, I just look at the different views I've created. So if I want to link to specific pages in a database, I actually need to create links on a page to those pages. And that is exactly what I've done inside this quick links bar. But because it's synced, I can now put it anywhere in my workspace. I could even make it a global header, so it's basically part of every single page if I wanted to. So how do you create this links bar? Well, first and foremost, you probably noticed that I have a toggle here with multiple columns inside that. And if you've ever tried to drag things around to create multiple columns inside of a toggle, you will know that it's actually not possible. So what we actually have to do is use a little trick that I'm going to be teaching you in more detail in an upcoming video about nested columns here in Notion. But I'm going to show you real quick how to do it. First, you want to create a page with your multiple columns. So I've got my links here, I've created columns, and it's a page called Quick Links. I'm gonna go one level up so I can see that page block here, and I'm gonna turn that page into a toggle list. So that's a useful trick. If you put things in a page and then you turn that page into a toggle or a heading or whatever, you're gonna preserve that nested column structure from the page you had created. From there, all I need to do is turn this Quick Links bar into a synced block, which is going to make it synced, and I still have the toggle here, so I can collapse that if I want, and then I can copy and sync it throughout my workspace. So there you have it, 5 ideas for how to use the brand new synced blocks feature inside of Notion. One thing to note is that as of today, as I'm recording this, synced blocks are still in beta, so we're probably going to see some changes coming to synced blocks. I've already sent off some ideas to the Notion team myself for some changes that I would like to see, but everyone has access to synced blocks and you can start using them in your workspace right now. So hopefully these ideas get you started with some cool things that you can start adding using these within your own workspace. I have a full article on synced synced blocks that includes these 5 ideas along with a full tutorial on how to use them. So check that out if you want to learn more about how to use sync blocks, want to learn more details. And if you want to learn more Notion stuff in general, I've got a whole course called Notion Fundamentals, which is free and public, and you can find it over at thomasjfrank.com/fundamentals. There are all kinds of articles teaching basically every single part of Notion. As I'm recording this right now, it's still coming out, but if you're watching this far in the future, then the entire thing is probably going to be published and you're going to want to check it out. Last but not least, you can sign up for my Notion Tips email newsletter right on that Fundamentals page, where you can get notifications whenever I publish new tutorials or make new templates. And speaking of templates, I've got a ton of templates, including a brand new habit tracker template over at thomasjfrank.com/templates. So check that stuff out if you're looking for some cool templates to add to your workspace, or don't, because as always, I'm not your dad. But I am curious to know, what are you going to do with synced blocks? What are your ideas with this? And what are your questions? If you've got questions, leave them down in the comment section down below, or follow me on Twitter at TomFrankly and send me your question there. I do my best to answer every question that I can, as long as I'm able to answer it. So as always, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.